Welcome back to the shop. I've had an idea for a while, and the idea is to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the years. How to save a little bit of money. Don't buy this, this is cheaper, this works better, stuff like that. Also, what tools you should have and what tools you shouldn't have. When you start a project, you try to find the cheapest parts possible. Now my project, it's basically I'm recreating a Vietnam era helicopter crew helmet. And one of the items I needed was the microphone. And this is the microphone. And I got a heck of a deal on this. It even came with the little pieces that attach it to the helmet. And I think I paid less than 20 bucks for it. And I think the reason why I got such a good deal on it is there's a part missing from this microphone. And I was sitting here trying to think, what's the best way to remake this piece? And really, my first thought was to take some plastic and just cut 4 pieces, put them all together, then shape it, round it, and then slide it on there and just be done with it. And I was saying, that'll work, that'll be pretty cool. Then I realized I could vac form a piece. I could just vac form this and then cut the section off that I need to slide on here and just be done with it. And then I was like, hey, you know what? This sounds like a great idea for shop tips. The shop tip I'd actually like to talk about is having a vac former. Now, you don't need, well, depending on what size your project is, this is just a small little project. So a nice little vac former was perfect. Now, these are available on eBay. They'll run you probably right around $100. You can look, I think I've seen them as low as $79 or $80. This one was bought by a friend of mine, and he used it in his shop. He's a model guy. He loves making models, and he loves making his own models. But he needed a way to make his cockpits. And I said, hey, why don't you get a little dental vac former? He's like, what's that? And I pulled it up on eBay, showed him, he bought it. And he's used this for several years, got great use out of it. And he said, hey, I've really found another process and I'm not vac forming that much anymore. Would you like to have this? And I said, sure. Do you need me to give you any money for it? And he's like, give me a couple bucks for it. So I am a tool guy, and I knew these were good, and I know they work. As a matter of fact, I think I've actually seen Adam Savage has this exact same one also. So the process is very easy. You take a little piece of plastic, throw it in here, you lock it down, turn your heat on. I think I'm going to lower this a little bit because the heater gets a little aggressive sometimes. Turn your heat on and wait for the plastic to get nice and flexible. This process is super handy. Like, I could actually make a buck, like a 2-part buck, which is a mold, a vac forming mold is a buck. I'm using the actual piece as a buck. I'm going to reproduce this out of resin. The reason why I'm going to reproduce it out of resin is because of the writing. I want mine to look as legit as possible. I want it to look as accurate to the original part, and I want this writing on here. But like I said, I'm missing this piece right here protects the microphone. I need that piece. Now I could, with a little bit of manipulation, I could vac form these. I could make a little mold that would go like this, and vac form this side, and vac form that side, and then trim them, and then stick them together and put a little glue on it. And I've just made a very quick and cheap reproduction of this. And in many instances, especially for props, that would be totally acceptable and totally doable. No big deal at all. So once this plastic gets heated up, I'm actually also going to set this on a riser like so. So I'm doing something you shouldn't do. And what I'm doing is I'm going to have it completely encapsulate this part. I'm also going to be able to trim this piece back out. If you were going to make pieces over and over, you would have this so it wouldn't undercut and trap the part. You'd want the part to be quickly and easily removable. Okay, we're getting close. But for this, I want that curve. I want to grab as much around and under as I can for the part I'm making. Now, here in a second, we're going to start seeing that sag. All right, looks like it's ready to go. That worked out perfect. This will give me exactly what I need. Now you can see how well it actually pulled really good detail. And you can see how if I take the time to create a buck that is suited for vac form, like if I take the time to make two half a front and back buck, and actually each little piece of this plastic, I could vac form the front and the back with this size machine. And I could make copies of this microphone very quickly and easily. And then all I have to do is trim along and put a little super glue and slide the two pieces together, and I would have created a lightweight, fairly cheap replica or reproduction of this. And now if I was doing the helmet for a non-display use, which I'm making these helmets for display, and that's why I want all the markings. But if I was doing this for a production, yeah, I would definitely vac form every single one of these. And I'd also vac form the helmet itself. I'd vac form as many pieces as I could because I can do it so fast. And it reproduces a really nice part. It's a little muted, but not that much, not to where it would be an issue. Thanks for joining me and checking out this new series that I hope will benefit you, and it gives me a chance to share a lot of the stuff I've learned, what works, what doesn't work, what's worth buying, what's not worth buying, what's worth having. Like this thing here sits on the shelf for a year at a time before I'm like, oh, this is the solution to my problem, and this is how we're going to fix this problem. Even though it's sat for a year, when I need it, it comes in handy, and I wouldn't give this up. I don't have any large vac machines or vac mold machines right now. When the job comes up or the need arises, I will build a new one. I'll probably build it to facilitate whatever the project I build it for. Anyway, thank you for joining along. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you benefit from it. See you next time.